Welcome, beautiful souls. As you settle into this moment, you may begin to feel a gentle shift, a softening in your breath, a quiet opening in your chest, a sense that you're exactly where you're meant to be. Remember, you're not just living life, you're creating it. With every thought, with every breath, every choice, you are directing the movie of your soul. And today, your path intersects with a powerful story, one that may reflect pieces of your own journey in ways you didn't expect. I'm honored to welcome Christopher August, CEO and co founder of Beats and Breath, a transformational movement that blends conscious breath, music, and somatic awakening into a living experience of presence. Christopher's path is one of courage, surrender, and deep inner listening. He has walked through personal storms, has faced his own shadows, and emerged with a mission to help others reconnect to the wisdom of their breath, the rhythm of their body, and the truth of who they really are. As you listen to his words, as you see his story unfold within your mind, as you feel resonance of this message somewhere deep in your body, allow yourself to receive whatever your soul brought you to hear. Welcome to the show, Christopher.
Hey Andrew, good to see you, man. Thanks for having me today.
You're so welcome. It's an honor to finally have you here. It's we've been trying to do this for quite some time.
Yeah, well, it's all perfect timing.
Definitely. So, Christopher, for those meeting you for the first time today, how would you describe the spirit behind the work you do?
How would I describe the spirit behind the work that I do? Well, the spirit behind the work that I do is breath. It is the foundation and cornerstone of everything. And quite literally, in translation, direct translation, spirit equals breath. And so when we are working with the power of our breath, and no matter what we are doing, no matter who we are, no matter what we do, it doesn't matter. The breath is intertwined into all aspects of our life and our reality. And when we bring conscious awareness to our breath, we begin to shift our lives because we are shifting our internal state as everything is created from within. And so breath isn't the only thing that I focus on, but it is the cornerstone and the foundation of all of my work. As when we are tuned in and tapped in to the power of our breath, everything begins to shift and everything begins to change.
When you look back on your life like a movie, what was the moment you first saw something shift and you heard that inner voice call you forward, or you felt a deeper purpose moving inside of you?
Yeah, I've had several of those moments throughout my life, and in the hero's journey, it's the call to adventure, right? But really, if we were just to boil it down, it's the call of your soul, and it's your soul waking you up and saying, "Hey, there's something deeper here that maybe you've been ignoring, you've been stuffing down, you've been suppressing, but there's something more to life than what you've been doing, what you've been living." And for me, I guess the biggest catalyst would have been back in 2012 when I was in the corporate world. I just finished my master's degree, and I literally saw a billboard on the side of the highway that said, "Are you ready to answer the call?" After many months of prayers and tuning in deeply to what was my next step, because I knew within myself that at that moment I was not fulfilled and this was not my path. Although I had checked all the boxes, I went to school, got the job, graduated at the top of my class, all the things that are, respected in society, there was something within me that said this is not it. And so I went on my soul's adventure and answered the call, which took me to Tanzania, Africa. And through that adventure, I learned so much about myself for 2 years living in a small village amongst incredible people and not living with any running water, no modern amenities, no electricity, living very primally and connected to the land. And that was, I would say, my first big initiation. And through that initiation, I was able to really quiet everything down, all the noise of the Western world, and come into that space within to really ask those bigger questions like, who am I? Why am I here? And these are the questions that we often ask ourselves when we enter onto this path. And from there, life begins to orchestrate itself and unfold in a divine way that begins to present to you all of the different breadcrumbs that ideally you follow, and through that the unfoldment happens. And so that was the biggest one, and there's been many more since. And even just recently this past weekend, having a profound liberating experience. So it's just continuously unfolding, even decade plus later.
I love it. It's wonderful. So, breathwork is now the center of your mission, and the breath is the first thing we receive and the last thing we release. When did the breath first speak to you in your body? You could feel it, you could hear it in your intuition, or see it reshaping the direction of your life.
Yeah, I would say that the biggest sort of initiation and catalyst into breath was losing my breath and losing my life and dying on the Zambezi River during a whitewater rafting experience, which you can imagine going through something like that. It's pretty intense, and coming back from that, and this was during the middle of my Peace Corps stint, a year into my Peace Corps stint in Africa. And through that experience, coming back home to what was real, because a lot of times, especially because of our busy mind, because of our busy lives, we forget the simplicity in the everyday of just being alive and the gift of being alive. And so regaining my breath after losing my breath was a wake up call in many ways to show me that there's much more than what I've been worrying about or what I've been stressing about or all of the different things I've been asking. That right now in this moment, this present moment, me with this inhale, with this exhale, there's so much here. And I was even given a message in that moment that a big part of my mission here on earth was to, breathe life into not only my own existence, but support people to do the same for themselves and breathe life into their dreams, breathe life into their visions, breathe life into their mission, and begin to truly anchor into who they are and why they're here.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful, man. When you combine the rhythm with the breath, it opens people in ways words can't simply describe. What transformation do you love seeing in your own eyes, hearing in their voices, or feeling the energy of the room afterward?
Yeah, I mean, I've facilitated, I mean, at this point, thousands of experiences across the world, and whether it be online or in person, just having the pleasure to really not only see my own personal transformation through the power of breath 10,000 plus hours later, but watching others and seeing the shifts that can happen just in as little as 30 to 40 minutes of someone releasing something they've been carrying for so long. Right, a lot of us, we carry so much tension and density and heaviness and weight from our past, and from the expectations that are placed on us from conditioning and programming and all of the things. And through the breath, we access the higher states of consciousness and expanded awareness, in which everything, all of our patterns, our cycles, everything becomes present to us. And the subconscious mind is illuminated, and the wisdom of the body begins to speak. And from that space, we can begin to reorchestrate and repattern ourselves from the inside out. And this is what I mean by shifting your state. Your state of being is dictated by your thoughts, by your energy, by your beliefs, by your words. And so when we begin to breathe into ourselves, we begin to shift our states on these subtle and very profound levels. And from there, we can begin to see and dream into the reality that we want to live. And oftentimes, we're not even taught on how to do this in any aspect of our life. But when someone begins to tap into this, the results are profound. Spontaneous physical, mental, emotional, spiritual healing take place, and we begin to become connected to our soul's essence, to our higher purpose, and to the depth of who we are.
And so, like, where does the music come in? What does the music do? Like, I know
Yeah.
the breath does something, but what does the music do?
Yeah, the music and why we've created what we've created at Beats and Breath and Sonic Breathwork and our modality is because, the music is another primordial force of creation, of healing. Sound and breath together are these two foundational forces that, when combined, can create ecstatic states. Because, you think about just listening to a song that you love, what that song does to you emotionally, and what you feel in your body when you hear the lyrics, when you hear the rhythm, when you hear the beat, when you hear the composition of that song, right? And so we've structured our breathwork experiences in which you are journeying not only with this music that takes you on this inner quest, but layered with bioacoustic technology that includes, binaural beats and solfeggio frequencies that are subtle energies that you might not be able to perceive right away, but they are actually shifting your brainwave state. So we're shifting brainwave states, we're shifting our somatic vessel, our body. And from those two synchronizing together, we're brought into coherence. And from that place of coherence, that's where we enter that deeply present, intuitive, open state.
Oh, that's wonderful. I've seen recently you did a retreat in the darkness. What exactly was that like? What experiences did you have, like not being in the light for so long?
Yeah, I guess I go to the extremes of my own consciousness, because part of walking this path as a practitioner, as a facilitator, as a coach, as a guide, I truly believe that, you know, speaking from embodied and lived experience. And if I'm not pushing the limits on my own consciousness, then how can I expect to guide others through the process that I take people through? And so for me, it's a curiosity and exploration. And that was a few years ago. But, at that time, I was going through a pretty intense dark night. I was in a really, really dark place within myself, going through some depression and experiencing some really interesting things. And so I just started to hear and see the signs and synchronicities of this darkroom experience. And so I plunged myself into it for 5 days. You can imagine a dark cave, no sound, you can't hear anything, you can't see anything, can't even see your hand in front of your face. And so there's a really intense aspect of this where you have to come face to face with your greatest fears, and I'd say the greatest fear of most people in humanity is the fear of annihilation, the fear of death. And I really went into that for especially the first couple days. And then after that, after the ego settled down a little bit, the visionary and the higher states began to open. And what I experienced was profound, even seeing the mechanics of how the breath works with the body and the DNA and what's happening with the cerebral spinal fluid and the third eye. Like, I began to see into the internal experience of what breath was doing. So it was just like a very, very profound and transformational experience.
Wow, that's amazing. So leading this movement, so you stay personally grounded just through breath work, right? And you just embody the practices that you teach, and that keeps you grounded with all the traveling you're doing, with all the people you're interacting with, and all the energies that are you're coming across.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, my core practice, obviously breath is very much deeply intertwined into my life, and then nature and, just really taking time to ground in self-care, right? And taking care of my body and just the simple things, right? We try to overcomplicate this path, but, just the simple things, and continuously looking at myself and taking ownership of my shadows, of my light, of everything in between. And from that place, just continuing to grow and expand. And, as I do that, I open more of myself as a channel for the divine and for great spirit to flow through me, and to be a conduit for love and for what it means to be truly authentic in who you are.
Imagine the version of yourself 5 to 10 years from now. What do you see him building?
Yeah, my vision is quite clear. I'm very clear on on where I'm going. I have a very deep sense of my true north. In 5 to 10 years, even in the next 2 to 3 years, I absolutely see what I've already built the foundations of from the ground up through lots of challenge and struggle and perseverance to becoming a absolutely huge global movement that supports millions of people, speaking on stage in front of thousands of people, having a healing sanctuary for people to come to, living amongst community with the closest people in my life, and just being an open channel for whatever wants to flow through me and however I can serve and support the evolution of consciousness and humanity during these very interesting and very powerful times in which we're all shifting. This window of 2025 to 2030 is probably one of the most significant windows of time that we're going to see and have seen for a very long time.
Definitely. So, for anyone listening right now who feels disconnected from their body, their purpose, or their breath, what is one step you would love to see themselves taking, hear themselves accepting, and feel ready after hearing your story today?
Yeah. I if it's okay with you, depending on our time, we can just go right into a practice, and we'll
100%.
do a short little practice, because for me, I can speak all day and share all of these things, but if we don't feel it, right? And obviously, for people that want to go deeper and you want to experience the full fledged with the music and all of that, you can go on Beats and Breath and download our app. But for now, we'll just do a silent, short breath meditation and just tune in for the next 3 to 5 minutes and see where it takes us.
All right, let's do it.
Great. So anybody listening to this right now and hearing these words, if you're driving, of course, continue doing what you're doing. But if you're in a place where you can sit and just be for the next couple minutes, whether it's in your office chair, whether it's on your couch, whether it's on your bed, just take a seat. If you want to lay down, you can lay down. Whatever feels most grounding, most supportive for you in this moment. And as you do so, you can just gently close down your eyes and tune in for just a moment into your own inner landscapes. And as you anchor into this space, I'm going to take just a few breaths. We'll exhale out all the air. We'll take a deep cleansing inhale through the nose. And slow, steady exhale out the mouth. Again, deep, slow breath in. And breathing out of pursed lips slowly out the mouth. Again, breathing in and breathing out. When you breathe in all the way up, feeling the ribs, the belly expand, and then dropping it all down, sending that breath deeper and deeper, breathing in and breathing out. And just maintain that breath. Stay with that deep, steady, rhythmic inhale and exhale. And just moving the energy, feeling the oxygen moving in and moving out. And as you do this, as you continue to breathe, just fully opening and allowing your body to release any stored tension, any tightness, any stress, any anxious energy that you've been carrying. As you breathe in, breathing new life into your body, into your mind, into your heart. As you breathe out, releasing, dissolving, letting go. And through this practice of opening, we open ourselves up to trust. We open ourselves up to receive all that we need in this moment. There is nothing outside of us that we need to chase or strive for, but just simply aligning to that calm, relaxed, connected state within ourselves. And just noticing and observing how just a few of these breaths are bringing you back into center, back into your power, back into that higher awareness. We'll take 5 more deep breaths together, just continuing to cycle through. And as you complete your last few breaths, just begin to slowly open the eyes and come back into your space. And just survey your surroundings. And take notice of the subtle shifts that transpired from just a few minutes of conscious breathing.
Truly is powerful.
Doesn't take much.
No, I'm super relaxed now. I'm sure everybody listening is relaxed too.
Beautiful. Well, relax the gateway to the expanded states and to that connection point. And so relaxation is key to everything. And so just a few minutes like this can create wonders in your life doing this daily.
It's funny you mentioned that. I've been listening to this guy. His name's Richard Rudd, and he talks about gene keys, and he says like contemplation like is the best way to just like contemplate and just focus on one thing, and it unlocks your inner genius. So it's interesting how you're talking about like pausing and just relaxing.
Yeah, I'm a student of Richard. I've been in the gene key system for 10 years. So I'm very interconnected with those teachings. And I do a lot of work with them myself.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. They're profound and powerful teachings. The breath is the way in which you integrate and activate those teachings. And so, yeah, there's a lot of magic there.
That's wonderful, Christopher. So how can people find you? What's your website?
Hmm.
Get people all this wonderful information, because everybody deserves to try beats and breath, because I've been doing it myself and it's been profound for me, mental health wise, and just energetically too. Like the energy breath work you have there, man, that's intense. Like I feel tired one day and I do that and I'm like, oh, I got energy now, where am I going?
Yeah, it's quite profound, man. And I'm happy to share it and continue to bring people through this experience. So yeah, people can on iOS and Android they can download the Beats and Breath app. that has over 100 guided breathwork sessions on there. It's some meditation, some sound healing. We're continuing to add to our library. We have some pretty big plans for 2026. And then my personal website is christopheraugust.co. You can find out all of the retreats that I do, all of the workshops. I'm launching a collective at the beginning of the year. And so, yeah, there's a lot of different things I'm involved in, whether it's speaking, writing, facilitating. Someone that wants to explore the breath even more, aside from the practices, I do have a book as well called Master Your Breath, Transform Your Life. So, yeah, excited to continue to share this work and empower people through their own life.
Oh, amazing, man. Thank you for coming. It's been an honor to have you on the show. And what a powerful conversation today.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. Appreciate everything you're doing, man.
Christopher August reminds us today that the transformation begins with a single breath, a breath we've ignored, the breath we've rushed through, and the breath that brings us back home to ourselves. His journey through darkness, his willingness to face what hurt, and his commitment to honoring his body's whispers is a living reminder that healing happens when we finally choose to listen. Whether you heard the truth echo within yourself, and saw the pieces of your own story reflected in his words, and something opened in you today. And that opening, if it's small, is where the transcendence begins. As Christopher shared through beats and breath, the body isn't the obstacle, it's the doorway. The rhythm isn't background, it's the teacher. And breath isn't automatic, it's the bridge between you've been and who you're becoming. As you step back into your life, take one slow breath and feel what's shifting inside you now. Until next time, remember you are the creator of your own story and your soul is the pen. Much love to you all.